y'all, what's up? What's going on? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are continuing on with our cool tone series for women of color, tips and tricks, because I just feel like as women of color we tend to stay away from cool tones, and there's no need for that because cool tones are awesome. So today we are doing this very simple smoky eye that I have on right now, and we are using the Urban Decay Naked Smoky palette, oldie but a goodie. Let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so when I think of like a true legit traditional smoky eye, I think of blacks and grays. So that was the inspiration for this look, just simply because there are no rules to smoky eye. You can do whatever you want, but this is just my simple way of doing it and what I think of when I think about a true smoky eye. So we're going to be using the Urban Decay Naked Smoky palette just simply because it's smoky and this is a legit cool tone palette. Now this palette is discontinued, so you can't find it on Ulta, Sephora. However, if you go online to Macy's or if you go online to Belk, you can find it there. I happened to get it last year when they discontinued it and it was half off. So this is what the palette looks like. When I look at this palette, I think of true smoky cool tone palette. So for today's smoky eye, we're going to be using these shades here. 1, 2, 3, 4, because these are typically shades that I feel like women of color tend to stay away from, just simply because they are cooler and they are gray, and also those are honestly the colors I think of when I want to do a smoky eye. So as you can see, this is what the look looks like, and it's not one of those super aggressive smoky eyes. It's just very subtle, straight to the point, but still, you know, little va-va-voom. So first I'm going to start off with priming. Let me get a little closer. I'm going to use my Urban Decay Primer, Potion, and Caffeine. Remember in my first video for cool tone, I said it helps if you use a eyeshadow primer that's a little bit closer to your skin tone. So don't use anything that maybe might look a little bit ashy on your skin tone or something that has like more of a white base to it, because sometimes it can make those cooler tones pull ashier on you. And we are just going to blend this out with a fluffy brush. I absolutely love Caffeine. I'm thinking of trying the P. Louise base. I know that's all the rage on Instagram and YouTube right now. So, and they have a lot of colors, which is very cool, especially if you're doing something like creative. I think they have like red and blues coming out. I think that's very innovative. Alright, keeping it simple. We got that down. Take any flat brush, and again, you don't have to go out and buy this palette. I'm sure you have plenty of palettes in your collection where you can recreate this look. So the first shade we're going to go in here is Black Market. And Black Market is basically a dark black, but it's got some reflex in it. It's not the blackest black. It's maybe like a black gray. So we're going to take this. And for this look, we're not starting with a transition color first. Whenever I do smoky eyes, I typically don't start with a transition because I like to start on the lid and then blend it up. I feel like sometimes, especially if I don't want my smoky eye to get too aggressive, if I start off with the crease, sometimes it ends up being a little bit higher than I want. And one of my rules of thumbs for dealing with cooler tone shadows, keep everything low. So I'm going to take this shade and we are going to pack it all on the center of the lid. Don't take it all the way into the inner corner, and then we're going to pack it on the outside too. And again, doesn't have to be perfect. Whenever I think of traditional smoky eyes, it's never like perfect. It's a little grungy. It's not super like cut crease. That's not what I think about when I think of smoky eyes. Alright, so you can see I've got that laid on now. Taking a clean blending brush, whatever you have. I prefer to use a MAC 224. And now I'm just going to blend the outsides out. And now as you can see, once you start blending, and make sure you're not choking your brush. So you don't want to hold it too high up. You want to make sure you're kind of back because the pressure is less when you hold it a little bit further back. And I'm doing circular motions on the outside. And as you can see, with those circular motions and just kind of going over that harsh line, it is automatically blending out for us. Super easy. I think that's probably the number one thing. Well, number two things people do wrong is they're holding their brush too close. They're choking their brush, and they tend to do windshield wipers all the time. Circle motions are really going to help with blending a little bit faster. and boom, as you can see, it's nice and blended, and that didn't take us any time. Now I'm just following the natural shape of my eye, not creating anything crazy, just following like my bone, my sockets right here. I'm just following that. And that's a good guide too, you know. If you are a beginner, a novice, or you're a little bit scared, don't start creating crazy shapes yet. Just go with what your eye is naturally doing, because you can never go wrong with the natural bone structure of what your eye is doing. All right, then going back in with that same color in the flat brush, I'm just gonna deepen it a little bit. And also with this palette, I already have my foundation and concealer on, and I didn't get an ounce of fallout, which is fantastic. I wish that I would have jumped into the hype when this palette first came out. I remember when it came out, and it was one of those situations where, you know, I was on a budget and I just couldn't afford it, and I never got it. And I wish I would have bought it sooner, because this is a really good palette. In fact, I think this is probably one of Urban Decay's best palettes. All right, so we've got this here, and I am just gonna bring it out and pull it up a little bit, following that natural shape again. Now to furthermore blend, wiping off my blending brush, I'm gonna take the shade Whiskey, which I love whiskey. Whiskey is my favorite alcohol. So I'm gonna take this brown tone here, and then we're just going to gently graze over that line, just to furthermore blend things out. See, now I'm not going to go too high because I have that guideline laid down already. So I am creating a little bit, once I get to the outside, the outer V. So bringing this down and sweeping this up a little bit. Next up, we are going to take the shade Dagger. It's like a gray tone here, and we're gonna grab a pencil brush and we're gonna put Dagger in the inner tier and pull it up and out. This is a pigmented gray. Like, it is, ooh, that is pretty. So putting that here and then taking it over just a little bit. This is such a pretty shade. And again, the reason why these shades work, they are cooler, but they're not like a light cool tone. It's a deep cool tone. Remember, another one of my rules is when dealing with cool tones, you know, just depending on your complexion, how light, fair, deep, dark. If you are dark, deep, you want to find cool tones that are on the darker, deeper side, because it will work a little bit better. It'll work way better. In fact, it'll work way better than using cool tones that are lighter, because those are just going to always look ashy. Then taking a smaller blending brush here, just blending that out. This looks more like a gunmetal shade to me, Dagger. Which again, what I think about when I think of traditional smoky eyes. And guess what? We're practically done. Next up, I'm going to take the shade Slanted, which is a little bit of a lighter gray shimmer tone, and just with my finger here, and I just want to pat a little bit of this. Oh, this is super pigmented. Oop, I got too much. Pat a little bit on the center of the eye, and then taking a blending brush and just blend it on top of the two colors we already laid down, just to give it a little bit more texture, make it a little bit more reflective. I am going to waterline, and then I'm going to tight line up here. I don't want anything that's like a wing liner or a super dark matte, again, because smoky eyes to me are a little bit grungier, a little bit messier. Don't want anything that's too technical, too strategic. So I'm just taking, you know, take your kohl liner, and we're gonna line the waterline. Then I'm gonna tight line, get as close to my lashes as possible. So on the outside, I'm tight lining all the way in, Tight lining is great to do if you're someone who has a smaller set eye. Sometimes if you have a smaller set lid and you put on eyeliner, it can just close it dramatically, especially if you are working with darker shades. So anyone that has a smaller lid, smaller eye space, I never do liner, like traditional line across the top. I always tight line because I don't want to lose the eye. And then on the outside here, I am going to make it a little bit thicker. Still not sure how I feel about this Sephora Glide On pencil. It's okay. I need to get a new eyeliner, but I just want to use this one up first. And then grabbing a flat brush, I'm going to take that first shade we used, Black Market, and we're going to line up under. On the outside here, I'm going to go ahead and connect, and then just bring it out. Now, I know a lot of people, when they do their smoky eyes, they tend to really blow out the lower lash line. It looks great on a lot of people, and every time I've tried it on myself, I've tried different techniques, I just don't like the way that that looks on me. So, again, that's another way to keep from getting that whole panda eye look. I just line it and then go over a little bit with my eyeshadow and blend it out that way. Because I feel like sometimes, you know, the further down you bring it, it can start to look like someone punched you. So just be careful with that. Don't take it too far down. Again, some people look good and they can pull it off, but I never like it when I do that to myself. And that's another way to not get the panda eye. Don't make like a legit circle shape, and don't take it too high up. And taking a clean brush on the outside here. Just gonna flick that up, and then wiping off my pencil brush, we're gonna go in with this shade Armor, and it's this silver tone here. Don't be afraid of silvers. Silver shades like these, I always place in the inner tier. And with this, I'm kind of extending my inner tear duct a little bit, so pulling it out a little bit further than I typically do. Now, if you have bar set eyes, don't do this. Just going back in, adding a little bit more detail, taking my 227, and we're gonna go back in with Black Market, and I'm just going to go on the outsides here, just to deepen up a little bit, and on the outer corner to the same thing. And I have legit no fallout, which is wild because typically with shades like these, fallout galore. All right, next up, we're just gonna pop on some mascara, lashes, and I'll be right back. All right, got mascara and lashes on. I'm using Ardell 110, my favorites. And for lips, I'm gonna use Matte Powder Kisses in the shade Impulsive. Love this shade. The only thing is that I have to really build this up. It's not super opaque, but it's very comfortable on the lips. This is unlike any other formula that MAC has for their lipsticks. Alright y'all, so that is going to wrap up my simple smoky eye for women of color using cool tones. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope that you are encouraged. Just kind of dip and dabble and play with cool tones, because as women of color, we can totally wear cool tones. It's just a matter of finding the right tones for our complexion. So down below, let me know if you will be recreating this smoky eye. I did not rethink this out as I was filming. Guess what? I have to go vote right now because it's November 6th, and we're going to go vote with the smoky eye on, and it's going to be okay. All right, guys? So thank you so much for watching. Keep it simple, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.